Hi, lover of cars. Welcome back. Just like that, it's only been 2 weeks and we're back with another one. TSA, how
It's
you
been
feeling?
not bad, you know. It's been a relaxing 2 weeks without the need to hear lights out, all out. So I'm excited to be back.
No tire screeching. Unfortunately, you know what? I would actually say, I had a break, but I had a chance to watch some tractor racing, some e-bike
Yeah,
racing, some scooter racing. I've been watching all sorts of racing just to fill my time, so my kids probably
anything
think
with
I'm
wheels.
crazy. Anything with wheels we're watching.
But what's your feelings? We're back at the one with the long name.
For us, simpletons, Imola. This is
That's
it.
it.
No El Ferrari, El Tordromo, nothing like that. My
It's been a
feelings.
while. It's been
It's
a
been a
while though.
while. Yeah. 2022 was the last race. And do you think McLaren are going to give us the same amount of pace that they had now that both cars have upgrades?
I hope so.
It would be nice.
I hope so because if you go back on history, Norris was on a podium in the last Imola Grand Prix in 2022. So, off the hype of what happened last week or 2 weeks
And
ago,
that,
he's. It depends if those upgrades have lasted the 2 week buffer period because there could be like a tractor now. But I for one want to see Lando now on the podium as many times as possible.
not to steal from the papaya fans, but fully knowing well that the only reason why he ended up on the podium last time is because Charles decided to go a different route on one of the
Yes.
corners and ended up spinning off. Pressure.
Yep. Yep.
Under pressure. But anyway,
But you
it,
think,
it was it was a podium finish. It's a podium finish. I will
yeah.
not take away from it. So
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 how you
what you
feel?
got?
How do you feel this one will go?
I don't know. I feel like it's too hard to call. Max is still going to be very strong. It's going to be up there. It's Sergio Perez, who I'm not quite sure that he will finish second or anywhere in the top five. But
Ooh.
I think the papayas will definitely be up there because if there's one thing that they showed us is that their upgrades are going to work. Whether they work for this track is another thing. I hear it might be a wet race as well, so I always love a wet race
But
on
this is
that.
where Checo. So when you say Checo won't be there, Checo only wakes up when the track's wet.
Mostly in street races though, so I'm not sure. I'm not sold. I don't know.
I don't. I think you're right. Verstappen will be up there, even though his confidence is a bit shaky. He'll definitely be up there. The I want to see Lando up there in the top five. I also want to see Piastri now because he's now becoming his own. Alonso, maybe. I think this is a race that Alonso would definitely want to be in the midst of the top 5 or 6. Leclerc, obviously, and Mister I don't have a job next year.
It's Alonso, who's Mr. I don't have a job next year.
Carlos Sainz, he doesn't have a job next year.
I guess. The thing, Alonso and Hamilton, between the two of them, probably they have the most experience of actually racing here.
Yeah,
But anyway,
but
what you got?
but
Do
if
you have any? Yeah.
history goes in the last race, they were in the bottom 10, both of them. One didn't finish, and the other one finished 13th.
Guess experience doesn't say much about a person.
But so that's how I think it will go. However, it's been, like you said, upgrades have come through. So I haven't looked at who's having upgrades just yet. That will be for the race on Sunday. So what's the schedule looking like this week?
Schedule. So we have from the 17th, which is Friday, and these are UK times for our UK fans. You've got the first practice at 12:30 up until 1:30. Second practice is at 4 p.m. up until 5 p.m. And on the Saturday morning at 11:30, you have the third practice up until 11:30 up until 12:30. And then qualifying is at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on that Saturday, and then the race is starting at 2 p.m. on the
On the
Sunday.
Sunday.
But if you want to watch the build up, you've got to be there early. Remember, guys, it's not just about the lights going out. There's a lot of information that's actually shared an hour before the race. So make sure you're
Plus,
ready.
because it's also a debrief session, and I think where all the races we've covered as a collective, they've had a sprint or they've been really early races. I, for one, am actually glad this is like a
I know.
normal-ish race,
Yeah, you get to watch it on a Sunday afternoon,
not
chilled.
Sunday morning. Yeah, literally not Sunday morning. And but again, Imola's a great track, and this is one of two Italian GPs that happen every year. It didn't happen last year, but this one, in the midst of silly season and Adrian Newey season, there's a lot going on. But before we even get to what's going to happen, how did this race end the last time we were there?
I'll give you that. So 2022, the finishing position were no surprise. The guy who were number one printed on his car because he had just won a championship. Max Verstappen was in the lead and leading by 16 seconds, and Sergio Perez was closely behind with Lando Norris, who was also about 15 seconds behind. Clearly, the Red Bull had the pace and they had a very dominant car. Lando Norris was in third, thanks to an error by a person we shall talk about later. And fourth was George Russell in his first year in the Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas in the first Mercedes in Alfa Romeo. Must have felt so bad watching that Mercedes in front of him. Charles Leclerc was in sixth. Then Yuki Tsunoda in an Alpha Tauri before it was called Visa Cash App RB Micro SD card.
Red Bull Junior, that one.
The Red Bull Junior team. And you have Sebastian Vettel in eighth. And Aston Martin before he left, because that was his last year. Kevin Magnussen in the Haas Ferrari. And Lance Stroll in the last point position in the Aston Martin. You want to do the 11 to 18?
Yeah, so 11 we had Mr. Albon himself. Mr. I've just re-signed with Williams for another, God knows how long. I didn't even see how the contract was. All I saw was a brief thing on Sky Sports saying Albon's re-signed. I went, okay.
Moving
Like,
on.
what else? You had Albon, Pierre Gasly, when he was still at Alpha Tauri. So this was, again, his his pinnacle year as he was leaving. Mr. Hamilton, for those Hamilton fans, this is the race where that porpoising car just didn't want to work. Then you had Esteban Ocon, and again, when you look at the two, I wouldn't have thought Gasly and Ocon would have been this way round. Zhou Guanyu, and again, still a rookie at this point, and he was still doing well. Mick Schumacher, God, that's a name we haven't said in a while. He was still racing in that. He was still racing for Haas. Danny Rick was at McLaren, so this was the end of Danny Rick's tenure at McLaren. Then we had Mr. Alonso. No, sorry, I missed one out. I apologise. Nicholas Latifi was still in this race as well. So Nicholas Latifi was 16th, Mick Schumacher 17th, Ricardo 18th, Alonso 19th, because he didn't finish, and so did Carlos Sainz. So that was Ferrari's terrible strategy blunders.
And that was the first lap accident between Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz got Carlos out, and Daniel Ricciardo managed to come back on track, which is the reason why he was lapped in this race. But boy, oh boy, that was a terrible season for Danny. I wasn't surprised not to see him come back for 2023.
Yeah, but when you think the track, and we're just going to touch, so the track has been around since 1980. So this track is famous for loads of things, most of it being crashes. And whenever you look at this race, it's notorious for crashes. 63 laps. So for a European race, it's got a lot of laps. Track record was set by Lewis Hamilton in 2020. So COVID, or just after COVID, where sports are still closed. 1 minute 15.4. I'm sure, well, to be fair, the Red Bull will be chasing that. But as we've seen this year, not many people are breaking records. Maybe it's safety, car reliabilities. One DRS zone from a track like this is a bit meh. And from looking at it, it's a fast track. So I'm very surprised it's only got one DRS zone.
You know what? Probably it's a safety thing. But I do love this track and the history that comes with it. And a lot of people will be wondering right now, why are we talking about Ayrton Senna when we are not in Brazil?
Yeah.
Ayrton Senna passed away at this track in 1994 on the seventh lap of the Grand Prix 30 years ago. Actually, we are looking at this as it's his anniversary, but in actual fact,
Yeah.
this guy passed away on the 1st of May. So technically, today is the 16th. I guess this is the first time we've been there, and it's actually 30 years
Yeah.
today. So Ayrton Senna, seventh lap, that's when he had that fast speed crash, which resulted in his instant death. That's the reason why you'll be seeing that iconic helmet everywhere you look on the track this weekend.
But it's a great track, and I don't. And again, reasons why we didn't have it last year, unbeknown to us. I think it was the weather. I want to believe it was the time where we had really bad weather last year, and it was
Then
meant
the
to
floods
be. Yeah, it's meant to be scheduled later on in the year, but
never happened.
it never happened. So I, for one, am looking forward to it. I think with the upgrades that have happened or happening, it's a competitive track. Drivers are going to have loads of fun with it. However, I'm still, with silly season happening as we speak, I think there's too much focus on the drivers and what they're not doing, what they're doing, rather than the racing. So I was reading the other day Lewis Hamilton saying he's still committed to the team. Bro, you've been shut out of the team already. Like, the team have closed the door.
Absolutely. They're going to stop including him in some things
Yeah.
because we cannot be talking to you about 2025 plans because
Yeah.
2025, you are not
Here.
a friend. You are an enemy.
But again, like we were saying before this recording, Fred will go down in history as one of the greatest team principals. Not only has this man gone and got Lewis Hamilton, he's started to take people away from the Mercedes team.
I have to give him the respect. I did not see this from him when they moved him from
Alfa Romeo
Alfa
to
Romeo.
here.
I
Yeah.
genuinely thought this guy is so inexperienced. He comes to a French speaking, to an Italian speaking team. He doesn't speak Italian,
Yeah.
but the moves that he has actually done in his tenure there at Ferrari is something amazing.
They're
I,
good.
I saw the names of the people that were stolen, the two employees that were stolen, and
Poached, not stolen.
those names are Italian. If
There's as
if
Italian as the name
if
Ferrari.
if there was any conspiracy here, we could actually say these guys were planted deep into these teams, and now it's time to come back home. It smells a bit Russian to me. This.
But when you think, literally, the way it came out, it wasn't even a bit. It was, and again, some of the news we get, we take news from multiple sources, we digest it, then we decide what to talk about. This one was weird because it was sandwiched between two other big posts, so you had to kind of slow down, see it, go, oh, Mercedes have what? No, sorry, Mercedes have taken two Italians back home. You're like, oh, all right. But Fred, and again, when looking at him from his Alfa Romeo days, the man looked like he was moving from one sackable fence to another every race.
Yeah,
And for him to,
I didn't think he would make it. I didn't think he would last at Ferrari.
but the fact that he's, and again, these Hamilton talks could have happened before, and he's just happened to be here when the fruit becomes fruit. But I have to actually sit back and say, him and Benotti aren't so different. They're quiet. Benotti was a lot more vocal, actually. Let me rephrase it. Benotti was a lot more vocal.
We tend to see Fred more on the track celebrating. You know, didn't you see the pictures of him celebrating with McLaren last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, but you have to. This is the thing. It's like, for everyone involved, everyone's watched Lando going through this thing. He still can't fix the infighting at Ferrari. So whilst we're getting Hamilton, as a Ferrari fan, we're getting Hamilton, and I'm here or there, because the influx of Hamilton fans that will move from Mercedes to Ferrari but don't know the history of being a Ferrari fan and the heartbreak that comes with it, I think they'll be in for a shock. If they think this man is going to come with a magic formula that's going to make this work, they're in for a shock, because he's coming into a car that's pre-developed, that he's only going to get time when the season finishes. No matter how great this man is, that car will give him hell for the first few months of the next season, because he's going to get sim time. That's it.
You know what? Let's leave it for now. Let's leave it for now. Let's focus on the race, not the long thing. Let's leave it for now. Right. Guys, thank you very much for sticking with us. It's been TK here, and I'm here
And
with...
TC.
There we go. Please like, share, follow for more content like this. It's been Lover of Cars.